Hey guys, long time no see. So yeah, I have been very MIA. If you guys don't know, I had my son, but I wanted to just kind of share my birth story because it's a long one. I'm gonna try my best to condense, wrap it through, and I'm gonna try not to cry. But I'm probably gonna cry, but I'm gonna cut it out. Don't worry, we're gonna get to the point. But I wanted to share my story because at first I wasn't going to, because it's not a positive birth story. If you are pregnant, I recommend you look up positive birth stories. I also read a book, Give Birth Without Fear. Highly recommend. I ended up needing an emergency C-section, but this helped me out tremendously. And I also read the book Lactivate with breastfeeding, because I am still nursing. We're 6 months nursing still. I'm so proud of us. So yeah, my story, to me, in my opinion, isn't super positive, but I think sharing my story, one, will help others, especially if you might have had kind of the same issues I have and you want to have another, I don't know, give some sort of motivation, but also kind of liberating myself in a way, finding the empowerment within myself, because I was second guessing having more children after this experience, and I know that I don't want fear to stop me. Okay, so to back up a little bit, I shared with you guys that I was expecting and I was pregnant. I am definitely a lot more active on Instagram. It's just easier to post day to day if you guys want to follow me there. But I did really slow down with a lot of my work last year as well, because I found out my son was measuring small while I was pregnant, and I probably knew that at about 6 months, 7 months maybe, and then I had some pregnancy complications around month 7, and I was put on bed rest, which was really hard. I was working remotely from work, and I was closely monitored. I actually switched OBGYNs while I was pregnant as well. I wasn't pleased with the care I was receiving, and I think that that was one of the biggest reasons why I had the success I did in my pregnancy, because of switching doctors and switching care. I am so thankful for the care that I received. Being a woman of color, it's super important to make sure that you're receiving adequate healthcare that you are pleased with, okay, especially in pregnancy. So I switched doctors, and I'm so glad that I did. I was actually referred to this doctor by my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law, and it was night and day care. So I started going more frequently to the doctors. Towards the end of my pregnancy, I was actually going twice a week to the doctor. We were keeping up with baby's measurements and seeing how he was doing. And I was also given an ultrasound every single time I went to the doctor, which was great, because I think that that's what helped ultimately. That's what really helped us make decisions. So the day, so if you guys saw, I had a baby shower. I had 2 baby showers. So actually, after my last baby shower, I had an appointment with a specialist on Monday to see baby's growth. My OBG wanted a second opinion about the baby's growth, whether we were going to basically have the baby early or if I could go full term, kind of just see what the specialist wanted to do. So I went to the specialist, and my mom came with me to this appointment. My husband obviously was still working, and I had to go to the doctors a lot. And actually, my doctor recommended that I had stopped driving pretty early, so I needed help going to all these appointments. So we went to see the specialist, and he felt that the baby could stay in a little bit longer, despite his growth. And just by last minute, the nurse said, "Hey, we forgot to take your blood pressure. Can we take your blood pressure?" And I was like, yeah, okay, that's fine. and my blood pressure was extremely high. My mom was with me, and this is also basically my mom had preeclampsia and HELLP syndrome with me. And so preeclampsia was something I knew could be a possibility in my pregnancy, but I was already around 36 weeks. So I felt pretty confident that I wasn't going to get it. So I was really grateful that my mom was with me, because my mom has been through this. My mom had preeclampsia, but pretty early with the pregnancy with me. I stopped growing at about like 27 weeks, 30 weeks. So I was super early. So my mom had been through this, and my mom was with me at this appointment. So my doctor called my OB and said her blood pressure is really high. And my doctor said, okay, you need to get admitted to the hospital. At that moment, of course, I was really, really upset, because the specialist had told me most likely you're not going to go home. It's just your blood pressure is too high. You need to go to the hospital. So I called my husband and I let him know we need to go home and grab our bags. We're going to the hospital. And they said we're probably going to have the baby. Of course, I was a mess. I was crying, and thankfully my mom was there, because she told me it's going to be okay. Because I was born at 2 pounds. So I knew my son was bigger than my size. But she's like, he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. Like, I have my faith in God, and I trust my doctor. I have faith in my doctor. I have faith in medicine. I have faith in the abilities of the miracle workers at the hospital. So I went and I was admitted into antepartum, which is, because technically I was 36 weeks and you're not full term till 37 weeks. So I was in the antepartum unit, and I was in there for about a couple days. I was given medication for my high blood pressure. They told me I was beginning preeclampsia. I didn't have full-blown preeclampsia yet. Because I did the 24-hour test to see if you have preeclampsia. And I don't think I was quite there yet, but I was beginning stages. So I was given an IV, I was given medication and everything. So I was admitted on a Monday, and I was given medication, and they also gave me a steroid shot for my son's lungs to make sure that they would be developed, because he was going to come soon regardless. And so we were there Monday, and Tuesday morning came. The nurse came in and woke me up and was like, you're having contractions. Do you feel them? And I'm like, no, I don't feel them. She's like, you're having contractions. We need to let your doctor know. I was having contractions, and baby was still doing fine. And then so Wednesday, they had woken us up super early. My contractions were just very small, not doing very much. We were just sitting in the room. We weren't doing nothing. It was very boring at first. And then we went to, they moved us to labor and delivery early in the morning, and they said, we are going to need to induce you, because, with my high blood pressure, it was just a matter of time. The baby had to come out. My contractions really weren't doing anything. So they told me that I was going to get induced. Wednesday, we were kind of like, in the labor and delivery room. So actually I was really excited. And at this point I still wasn't nervous or anything. So I'm still hooked up to machinery, have my IV and everything. And they noticed that the baby's heart rate was fluctuating. And so they said, okay, we are going to give you, if you aren't familiar, that there's a pill that they can give you to induce you. They were giving me half of that pill, and I would start contracting, and they would see how the baby's heart rate was doing. So we probably did this for about, I want to say maybe 12 hours. And I was getting contractions. I wasn't at the point of needing an epidural, but I have a high pain tolerance, but I wanted to wait as long as I could for an epidural. My husband and I, we would walk the halls. They really wouldn't let me do much. I was still on bed rest even in the hospital. So they would let me walk like do 2 laps around the hospital, and I had to lay back down, and they had to monitor. Then they would see, okay, how is the baby's heart rate doing? Okay, now we'll give you a little bit more of the pill, and then you could walk, and then we got to monitor the baby. So it was very slow, which was frustrating to me because I had read my book. I was ready. I was in the mindset. I was getting in the zone. I was ready to have this baby. I was excited. I was so excited. Like, I knew our son is coming soon. He's coming soon. Like, our baby's coming soon. I knew it, and I was so excited. The baby's heart rate still was going up and down, up and down. And it got to Wednesday night. And my doctor's like, okay, how about we, let's give you a break. Let's see if maybe the baby needs to adjust. Maybe he's sitting on the cord. They even had I had someone come in and give me an ultrasound just to see how the baby is going to do. And they think there might be a kink in the cord or something like that. So the baby overnight was doing worse. And so the doctor woke me up in the middle of the night or early in the morning. This was like at 4 a.m. and said, I'm not happy with what it's looking like. It's completely up to you. We can continue to try to induce you, or we can do a C-section. And at this point, I knew with his heart rate, with my high blood pressure, I was anticipating a C-section. And I'm very grateful and thankful. My sister-in-law told me, oh, just be ready for a C-section, because if you have the mentality that you're gonna have a vaginal birth, it's gonna happen. It might not, and you might not be prepared for what a C-section might look like. So I had talked to my husband, and I told him, so at this point, we had our conversation, but it's pretty much, are we going to push the baby and see what happens when he's not doing too well right now? Or are we going to, it's going to be more on my body, do a C-section. And so I had a conversation with the doctor, and we had a very in-depth conversation, and my husband was there, and we decided for a C-section. And I kid you not, the moment I said, okay, we're gonna have a C-section, my husband was scrubbed, they were wiping me down, prepping me for a C-section, and my doctor was on his way. So I think my doctor was trying to not scare me on the severity of the condition of my baby. So I had literally enough time. I called my mom. We called my husband's family, and we let them know I'm going in for a C-section. And my mom's like, okay. My mom's thinking, okay, maybe in a couple hours. As soon as my OB showed up to the hospital, which I think he lives 15, 20 minutes away, I was scrubbed up. I was wheeled into the operating room. I was given a spinal and laying down on the table. And I was given, I met the anesthesiologist, everything. Like, this happened within an hour. I don't know, like, it felt so fast. And I was okay still mentally. I was fine. I was ready. I knew this is what my baby needed. And so I was laying on the bed, and in a matter of minutes, my doctor came in, hi, Alexa, and started, I was numb. I felt them rubbing me with the cleaning stuff. I don't know. And they were cutting, and I'm thinking, oh shoot, like, my husband's not in here. And then he came around the corner, and he sat next to me. And so I think in my experience with having my pregnancy, rib pain, my ribs expanded while I was pregnant. I am 5 pounds over my pre-pregnancy weight, and my ribs grew, and I am a bigger broad band size than I was before. And I think it's just my ribs grew in pregnancy. Like, they are wider. So I was in a ton of pain when I was getting my C-section. the pressure that you feel, that's kind of what everyone says. You just feel a little bit of pressure. The pressure for me was so excruciating. It was so painful. I was dry heaving basically nothing because I was on an all liquid diet. I was just dry heaving nothing into a bowl, like turning my head, and I was just spitting and, you know, all of that nastiness. And my husband was wiping me, and the anesthesiologist was like, you're okay, just relax. And my doctor was on the other side of the curtain. Alexa, you need to take a deep breath, relax. And I was like, okay, just, you know, for my son, I need to relax. Okay, breathe. Cause I'm upheaving and they're down there trying to get the baby out. And I'm like, my muscles are contracting. And so it kind of took a while to get him out. And even the anesthesiologist kept peeking over like, okay, you know, this is taking a while. And the anesthesiologist said, we can put you to sleep after the baby comes and you see the baby. And I said, okay. But I was in so much pain, I was contemplating, I'll just see him later. But I was like, no, I don't want to miss this moment. So they took him out and we heard him crying. And at that point, my husband and I were a mess. And my doctor's like, he's okay. He's fine. He's just small. He's okay. Because we didn't know why he was growing small. There could have been some reasons, but we didn't know why. They didn't like take him out and show him over the curtain or anything. They took him over to the side to make sure he was stable because he was so small. And then they wrapped him up, bundled him up, put the beanie on him, and then they showed him over to us. And he was so small but so cute and so sweet. And it was so beautiful. And the doctor put me out. I said, okay, doc, thank you. And then I closed my eyes because I knew I could relax, and I was out. I woke up and they were wheeling me out, and Logan was with the baby, and Logan was trying to show me the baby, but I couldn't sit up. I was stuck on my back and I couldn't see the baby. But Logan's like, they said the umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck, and his fingernails were purple. He was losing oxygen. I am so thankful for my doctor. We were put in our room, and the day we were put in our room with the baby, he wasn't eating. I did get him to latch on my breast, but he would suck once, twice, maybe. He was just so tired and he wouldn't eat. We tried to feed him a bottle. He took a little bit, but he just wouldn't eat. And he was weight-wise on the borderline of needing to go to the NICU or not going to the NICU. Ultimately, they decided he needed to go to the NICU. And fast forward, he was just treated for jaundice. His blood sugar was it was fine. He had no real issues besides sucking. Because I think he was so small, that reflex didn't come in yet. And typically when babies are in the NICU, they are expected to stay up until their due date, which was 3 weeks. So he ended up being in the NICU for 3 weeks. We visited him every single day, but due to COVID, only one of us could go in at a time, which was really hard because I wish Logan and I could have had those moments with the baby together. And I have to say that was emotionally the hardest thing I've ever had to go through. Carry a baby for 9 months, have your baby, and then he's somewhere else. That was the hardest thing. And I really am so thankful for our families. And my mom has been through this with me. So she would text me every single day because I had a C-section. Do you need a ride to the NICU? Do you need a ride to the NICU? And my mom actually lived in between, so she would have to drive extra to pick me up and then go to the NICU. Then she would go chill at my grandma's house till I was ready because my grandma lived close to the hospital. And then when I text her, okay, mom, I'm good, she'd come and pick me up. And of course, obviously Logan, my husband Logan, was in the mix as well. But it was a lot for us too, emotionally, physically, just driving and seeing your baby hooked up to machines. I was thinking of making a video of how to support NICU moms, because I feel like it's hard. It is hard because it's a lot different. You don't have your baby. Yes, I had a C-section and I was able to heal at home because the baby was in the NICU and I was able to get my sleep. Well, sleep. I was up every 3 hours pumping and bringing him milk to the NICU. And we're still breastfeeding 6 months afterwards, but I knew that he was in the best care, and that sucking reflex kicked in about his due date, and he was downing his bottles. And then me and baby stayed home for months, and I wrote out all my maternity leave, and then we were just nursing 24/7, and we tried to reintroduce the bottle, and he was like, no, I don't want that. So that's been a struggle, but we've figured it out, and he's been doing so good. And as you guys can see why it took me a long time to film this, just because it was hard. But you know what? We do plan on having at least one more. At least one more baby. And I know that, you know, whatever God has in store for us, I know we can endure. And my son is a NICU graduate, and to any other mamas with babies in the NICU, those babies are strong. They're a blessing from God, and God has his hands in the NICU, because I mean, I can't believe the work that they do in the NICU. So if you guys have any questions, leave them down below. We can chat. Let me know what other videos you guys would like to see from me. I'm thinking of making a postpartum hair loss video, because my hair's starting to come back. These edges are coming back crazy because I was bald. Your girl was bald. But just let me know what other videos you guys want to see. And thank you guys so much for checking out this video. I know it was a little bit different, but I plan on coming back, so let me know what you guys want to see, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye!